Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to give you 7 sexy fragrances from the house of Lattafa. So let's jump into it. All right, so today we are talking sexy fragrances from the house of Lattafa. Well, 2 from Maison Alhambra, but it's the same difference really. Fragrances that are going to be great for date nights with your special lady friend or special gentleman friends, or just fragrances you just want to feel sexy, walk around town, put out that vibe, have that kind of added confidence because you smell like $1,000,000. I got you covered. I got 7 different fragrances, all different kind of scent profiles to these, a nice variety of fragrances for you guys to choose from. I'm gonna have links down in the description if you decide you want to check any of these out. So let's just quit screwing around. Let's get into it. All right, so first up on the list, we have a fragrance that it was one of my first Lattafas I ever had in my collection, and it's one of my favorites. It's Tapas Kayad. Now you can pick this sucker up for $20 at places like Fragrance Buy. This is just a beautiful, bold, masculine style of fragrance. Really nice kind of spice. I gotta get some in the air. Really nice kind of spice opening to it. It's got this kind of saffron leather sort of feel, more of a kind of a suede vibe. Really nice kind of wood accords mixed in there. A touch of oud to give it kind of that Middle Eastern vibe, but also kind of add to that woodiness. It's like dry lumberyard next to kind of a spice market, but in the dry down you get this really nice vanilla amber combo that comes through. It's like drizzling some just sensual, sexy vanilla on top of some nice dry woods with this nice kind of suede accord that comes through. Absolutely gorgeous dry down on this. I love the dry down on this. Very sexy. This can be pulled off as a unisex fragrance, but I do think this leans a little bit more on the masculine side because of that boldness, that spice, that wood accord, and that little kiss of oud that's in there. Beautiful, bold, masculine style fragrance with that little kind of soft, gentler side with that beautiful vanilla that comes through. Performance on this is fantastic. I get 8+ hours off my skin, and projection for the first 2 hours is fantastic. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. That's the Tapas Kayad. All right, up next we have a fragrance that I was a little nervous about when I first got it. It pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I'm glad it did. It's Lattafa's Bayad Amethyst. Now you can pick this sexy mofo up for $25 at various discounters. It's said to be a clone dupe inspired by Vinicio's Atomic Rose. I have not smelt that fragrance, so I can't confirm nor deny. But what I can tell you is this is a awesome rose for bros style of fragrance. In the opening, it's pink pepper and 2 different kinds of roses. The rose that comes through in this is very kind of thick, jammy, candied style of rose. Very like has a sweetness to it, but it's not like overly feminine floral. That pink pepper just adds a touch of sweetness to it, kind of accentuates that through its kind of fresh spiciness. But what you're really getting is that rose, a little bit of amber that comes through. There's a kiss of oud in here that it more kind of like thickens and darkens that rose accord and kind of sits in the background on a bit of a woody accord along with that amber. It's not like a typical rose oud style of Middle Eastern fragrance. It does kind of sit in the background, kind of holds things together, and more kind of influences the kind of masculine side of this rose fragrance. And it's absolutely gorgeous. In the dry down, you get a little bit more vanilla that comes through, kind of adds a little bit of softness to it, kind of rounds things out. But the star of the show is that thick, jammy, sweet, candied style of rose mixed with that little bit of amber that comes through, and it's just an absolutely beautiful scent accord on this. Very sexy, elegant, just intoxicating style of fragrance, and performance on this is fantastic. Like 8-10 hours. If I get some on my clothes, I have to wash my shirt because this just goes and goes for the entire day, and projection for the first 2-3 hours pushes out pretty good. For $25, this is an absolutely fantastic fragrance, and if you're nervous about rose, I think this one might change your mind. That's Lattafa's Bayad Amethyst. All right, up next we get a fragrance that needs no introduction. It's Tapas Hamra. Now when you can find this, you can find it at places like Perfumes Online for $38. At the time of recording this video, it is available. So again, links are gonna be down in the description if you decide you wanna check this one out. This has been said to be a clone inspired by Killian's Angel Share. And this is just an absolutely delicious, soft, warm, spicy, cozy, gourmand style of fragrance. And I absolutely adore this one. Beautiful, warm, spicy medley of cinnamon, some nutmeg. You get this nice praline note that works in there. This date, vanilla, benzoin, some tuberose, some amberwood that mixes in there. Very soft, silky style of gourmand fragrance. That warm spiciness just gives it this nice coziness to it. That vanilla benzoin gives it this sweet, resinous, soft, silky sort of vanilla vibe going on to it. That praline just adds that extra bit of kind of desserty gourmandness to it. And you get a little bit of that fruit sweetness with that date coming through. Beautiful, seductive, delicious style of fragrance. I can't get enough of this fragrance. It is a unisex fragrance. Some dudes might find this a little bit on the feminine side because it is very sweet. It's got that kind of soft, silky, vanilla, floral kind of warm spiciness to it. So they might think it leans a little bit feminine. Me personally, I think this is a good unisex fragrance. I think males and females can pull this off because you're gonna smell delicious and no one's gonna be mad at you about that. I love this fragrance. Performance on this, 8+ hours. Projection for the first 2 hours is really good. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. That's Tapas Hamra. All right, up next we got one from the house of Maison Alhambra, and it's Maison Alhambra's Tapas. And you can pick this sexy beast up for $25, $30 at various discounters, and it's said to be a clone of Dior's Tapas color, and let me tell you, this is a gorgeous tobacco style of fragrance. Very kind of got this flirty side to it, but this gentlemanly vibe at the same point. Very enticing and very addictive. Every time I walk by my shelf, I just like pick up the cap and I have to give this a whiff. Really nice honey tobacco style of fragrance, like the tobacco with like tobacco flower drizzled in honey. It's got this really nice peach accord that comes through, kind of like a dried peach. So it's not that kind of juicy sweet kind of vibe going on from the peach, more of kind of a dried fruit sort of peach going on. And this really nice amber that works in there, giving it kind of a soft powdery texture to it, just adding a little bit of character to it, giving it a little bit of warmth, kind of warming up that honey that's drizzled on there. Absolutely gorgeous, intoxicating style of fragrance, super sexy, and the great performance on this. 8-10 hours, no problem off my skin, and projection for the first 2-3 hours pushes off really nice. In fact, this is my scent of the day. I'm just gonna give this a shot here. I already feel like twice as sexy now just from reapplying this. Beautiful fragrance. I think for $25, $30, this is a steal of a deal. Definitely worth checking out. That's Maison Alhambra's Tapas. All right, moving right along, we got another one from the house of Maison Alhambra, and it's Kismet for men. Now you can pick this bad boy up for about $20 at places like Fragrance Buy. Currently this is sold out, so you have to set email notifications. And this is a clone of YSL's Tuxedo. And this is one of the most gentlemanly, classy, dapper style of fragrances that I probably have in my collection. Nice sharp pepper, it's got this citrus to it, kind of tickle your nose and give you kind of an invigorating feel, really grab your attention. Has that kind of classic gentlemanly vibe to it, but with a very modern take on it. As this kind of develops, you get some really nice soft masculine woods that come through, and in the dry down you get this beautiful creamy vanilla that works its way in, but it still maintains that kind of sharp hard edge to it with that spice, that citrus accord, and a little bit of green that kind of dances around the edge, giving it almost kind of a little bit of a lemongrass kiss to it that's just absolutely gorgeous. Like I said, sophisticated, classy, formal, dapper gentleman style of fragrance, and ultra sexy. Performance on this, I get about 6 hours, so you might have to reapply, but if you're just going out for a lovely evening with your lady or your gentleman, this is definitely gonna get you through the evening. Awesome fragrance, bang for your buck. This is one of the best fragrances you can pick up for a date night, for those evenings out, for those kind of formal occasions. Absolute gem of a fragrance. That's Maison Alhambra's Kismet for men. All right, next up, we got one from the Latoffa Pride line, and it's one I haven't talked about in a little while, but it's still one of my favorites from the Latoffa Pride series. It's Eternal Oud. Now you can pick this sucker up for about $35 at discounters. Again, links are gonna be down in the description if you wanna check any of these out. Gorgeous, sweet style of fragrance. It's got plum, it's got vanilla, benzoin, tonka. It's got this nice heliotrope, this orchid note that moves in there. Little bit of oud in the background, but mostly what you're getting is just a sweet, rich style of plum mixing with that vanilla, that amber, some of that tonka, giving it just a coating of silky, soft, smooth vanilla with that plum accord, with that kind of soft florals that mixed in there, and it's just absolutely sexy, smooth, alluring, delicious style of fragrance. I love this fragrance. It's just got this beautiful vanilla dry down to it that has that rich plum that sits on top. It's sweet, but it's not your typical kind of like bubblegum sweet style of sexy fragrance. It has that maturity to it with that rich plum that works in there, and some of those like that heliotrope, that orchid, and those vanilla notes that work in there. Has this sort of like this opulence to it, this sort of like mature sweetness to it. It's just absolutely fantastic. Performance on this, I get 8-10 hours off my skin, first hour and a half to 2 hours of projection. Really nice. One of my favorite in the Latoffa Pride lines. Excellent, sexy fragrance. That's Latoffa Pride's Eternal Oud. All right, and last, but certainly not least, we have another one from the Latoffa Pride series. and it's Lattafa Pride's Hala. And you can pick this bad boy up for about $36 at discounters. And this is a new addition to my collection, and I cannot get enough of this one. This has such a comforting, nostalgic, almost spiritual kind of experience for me. Very sexy, kind of got this like rugged yet inviting style of centicords to it. It's nutmeg, it's pepper, it's got the cedar in there, incense, amber, and some labdanum. What you really get is this nice sort of brisk, uplifting style of pepper and cedar note that really fuse together, giving it this like spicy wood accord, but it's very light. It's very, like I said, brisk, almost invigorating in the opening. And then you get some of that incense that works in there with that amber, giving it this nice dry wood accord, little kiss of smoke that kind of works in there. It's like on a nice fall, spring sort of evening, kind of cool outside, and you're sitting outside of one of those dry cedar saunas. That's that whiffs of that dry wood, that little bit of spice that's there. Absolutely gorgeous, sexy, just amazing, amazing fragrance. I absolutely love this one. Performance on this, I get about 6, maybe 8 hours if I get some on my clothes, and projection for the first hour and a half is a moderate to fairly good before it does settle back in. Really incredible scent profile on this. Like I said, almost like kind of a spiritual experience, but in the sexiest kind of way. Definitely worth checking out. That's Lattafa Pride's Hala. All right, so there you have it. That's 7 sexy fragrances from the House of Lattafa and 2 from Maison Alhambra that I think you should know about. And I want to hear from you guys. What are some of your favorite Lattafa fragrances for things like date nights or just boosting your confidence, making you feel sexy? Comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Love getting your different recommendations, different taste profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.